and really learning how to change yourself, learning how to develop the self-image that takes you to the vision you desire in life, changing yourself. We are an institute of the mind, and we've done a lot of work in developing ourselves and developing ourselves to the point to where we can help develop other people. And the desire to go beyond, the desire to self-improvement in ourselves and improving the lives of other people and the people around us. That's our desire. And we do that by opening the institute, delivering information, working with different countries. Right now, we're here in Lubbock, we're in Tehran, Iran, and working towards right now South America. And why are we doing this? Because we knew that if we could change, others can change. And once we really grasp this information, the truth is you cannot go back. And the responsibility of knowing this information puts you directly in alignment with developing other people. Once you know that prosperity is something that is chosen, once you know that everybody by divine right deserves to live the way they want, all you want to do is give it back to society. And that's what we've done. We've created a business out of this so that we can help in the improvement of other people and other people's lives. Introduce my partner here, Taha Habib, and I'll let him take over in the intro.
Which camera we're looking at?
Right. Center now.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Taha Habib. I'm a co-founder of I Am Mastermind. Welcome to our seminar, Defining the Self-Image. This work that we're doing here it's very personal to us because we've been through it. It works. And not only we have improved our personal life and grow and make a better life, but also we decide to help others because we realize that we're all the same, and we have all the tools and ability to create the life that we want, but yet we're not aware of it. Here in I Am Mastermind, we bring awareness to individual, and we're here to set up I Am Mastermind where it's going to be here after us as well. We're also having, other than our program, we're also having our coaching program as well. Individuals that are interested, they can request for a coaching program, but it's required for you to go through our program first. We're here to discuss self-image. And self-image is very important. Why? Because there is a relationship between you, the way you think of yourself, the way you perform, and what comes in your life. And that relationship is you, how you see yourself. And today we're going to discuss it and talk further about it. Because our self-image is developed through our history, meaning that where we were born, what family we came into, what experiences we experienced through our environment, and how other people judge us, how was our past performance, and collection of those data created our self-image, opinion of ourselves. And as we understand it, as we start working on that self-image, we can see improvement in our life, in our reality. We're going to discuss it today. I'm going to let Abraham lead, and we're going to discuss, obviously we're going to start with the mind. It's fundamental to understand what mind is and why it's important to understand mind. Thank you.
If you guys have questions, Zach, if you'd be looking at the Facebook as well. If you guys have questions, put them on there, Facebook or Zoom, and we can answer your questions as we go through it. The main important thing, ask questions, and it's important to ask questions. And the reason we want to ask questions is because sometimes we're not getting it, and we're not understanding it. And if you're asking questions, you can also help other people that may not be getting it or understanding it, right? But that's how we get a better awareness of what it is that we're teaching. when we get started, first it's about understanding the mind. And we're going to go through this part's kind of fast. We need to try to get as much as we can on the self-image and work with you guys on the self-image as much as possible. But you cannot work on your self-image until you understand the mind. And the reason why you cannot work on the self-image is because if you don't understand the mind, you're not understanding the underlying principle of what's making everything. What makes reality? What makes your life the way it is? What's creating your life? What's created the self-image? Understanding the mind is understanding the creative life force. And we're gonna keep coming back from the actions and the outside world, and we're gonna keep going back to the mind. We're going to keep going back to results, and we're going to keep going back to this image that we're going to be showing you. Why? Because we do not understand energy. We understand the extension of the energy, which is called results. We do not understand energy. This is what we do here as an institute. The honest truth is we're combining science and theology. One, science is always studying and measuring the result, but that's the effect. It's already done. Theology is trying to study the cause that's unseen. What we do is we marry the two. And what we do as an institute of the mind, we're measuring the data. We're measuring the data between the unseen and the seen. And then we're compiling this information together to help you advance your life, to change yourself. That's what we do. And what we're doing is we're helping a lot of people in this manner. And we're going to start off with understanding the mind. What is the mind? I want you to clearly understand. My brain, your brain, does not think. Why would I say that? Why would I say that? What do you think about what I'm saying? My brain and your brain does not think. Can you grab the mic? Because we have people on the call nest so they can hear you. There you go.
I would think your body controls your mind.
It can. But first is the mind, right? So the mind thinks through the brain. You see that? So my brain does not think, but I think through my brain. Listen to this. Your brain, wherever you're at, whatever part of the world you're at, your brain does not think, but you think through your brain. The brain alone has no power or life. The brain alone has no life nor power. So what's giving it the power? What's the powerhouse of the brain? And this is where we miss this information. We're going to be talking about the mind and the many equations of the mind and the way it expresses itself. The mind is a movement. The mind is the perpetual transmutation of thought energy. Perpetual transmutation of thought energy. Now, I may change this up a little because I think we're doing better in the blue. The mind is the perpetual transmutation of thought energy. The mind is the perpetual transmutation of thought. The mind, my mind, your mind, their mind, perpetually transmuting what? That's the question. What are we perpetually transmuting? Mind? Mind is a movement. The body is the manifestation of that movement. The mind is a movement, and the body is the representation of whatever is happening up there. And this is why we don't understand the results in our life. Why? Because we're not working to understand the unseen costs. We're living in a physical world. We live in the three-dimensional world, and this is normally where we're focused. We're looking at what? Let's say extension of what we've done. The house. What's the other extension? The car. What's the other extension? What's the things that surround us? The job. That we go to work. To do what? To earn. This is our service. This is the service we render. We don't get money, we earn money. Listen to what I'm saying and write it down. Why? So that you can become aware. You don't get money, you earn money. You render service. That means you are giving what? The average individual is stuck. 96% of humanity is rendering their time for money. That's a big problem. We're going to come back to that later. The average individual is rendering their time for money. And we're going to go back to that later. But this is why 93, 96, 7% stay stuck. And the amount of money they earn is always in direct proportion to what they do. So this is controlled by that normally because they're not aware. Not because they can't do no more, but they're not aware. And we're going to go through all that here in a little bit, later on. We've got to become aware of what's making us stuck. We've got to become aware of who chose the business, who chose how we would render our service. Who chose that? What was it? It was an idea, was it not? Where'd the idea come from? This thing that's perpetually moving. Now, here we go again. Money controls the car you buy or don't buy. Money controls directly the house that you have or you don't have or that you rent. Money controls everything you purchase that's inside of the home. Money controls the vacations you take. The time you spend away from that place of earning. Money controls everything that's physical. I don't want to go into it all, but if you can think everything that is physical, you have to pay for it. Right? Everything you have physical, do you have to pay for it? And if you didn't pay for it, who had to pay for it?
Someone.
Somebody. Nothing's free. Everything that we ever have that's physical is paid for. Everything that's physical, somebody has to pay for it. Or some people try to steal it. And why is it taken back away from them? Why can they never keep it? Because they got the law backwards. They want to steal it, and the law will take it back away from them. Let's look at relationships. Boyfriend, girlfriend. Result, an experience. House, car, relation. The only two aspects that, how much is controlled by money? A whole bunch, everything that's physical. So now the only other side of this is going to be relationships. So money takes care of everything that has to do with your exterior physical world and the experience of it. And then the other whole aspect of it is relationships, friends, family, future, business partners, business friends, associates, all of that is relationship based. Now, who is moving this into place? You think this is an accident? All this outer ring is an expression of the intelligence. This is the key. That's doing what? There you go. That's thinking. Yep. So grab the mic.
I would call that your subconscious mind
Yep.
because you grew up knowing that's what you're supposed to do.
The average individual is doing that. We're going to go into it. Now, this thinking mind, let's go to thinking. I don't want you to write down. Thinking is truly gathering prior memory or a vision of the future. Thinking is imagining. But how do you imagine? You have to have ideas. So then you gather information from the past. This is your subconscious mind. In the subconscious mind is all the data that you have accumulated through time. Data accumulated through time. The first programming, mass, this is a mass. We'll put this up here. This is a mass of information. This is data accumulated, but the first engagement was programmed into you. You may say, programmed? Yeah, you were programmed. You, I, everybody else. We didn't have a choice. When we came in, our subconscious was wide open. This baby was wide open, and it could not reject the information. What did it do? It just absorbed everything that was going on around it. This thing lights up. This thing that's lighting up is what is thinking. This is called the raison d'etre of the whole thing. This thing is lighting up and it never stops. If it ever stops, you're off to another place. The brain alone does not think. I think through my brain. The brain alone does not have life nor power. So the only thing that's given this brain life and power is this thing that's thinking. And this thing is thinking is the divine spark within. It's your soul, your spirit. Your body has no life nor power. The life has no life and no power. Scientists know that the minute this divine spark is gone, this soul particle, this life-giving force, science has proved it over and over again. And when this thing cannot connect to the brain and the body automatically flatlines and it begins to decompose itself. It begins to consume itself, and you will watch it disappear, and it goes back to dust. So they know that gives life to that. Now, if we came in perfect, then the mind can change. If spirit is perfect and the divine spark within is perfect, if this is perfection, and I'm going to do this. Later on, we're going to show you something magnificent. The magnificence is already inside of you. It's one with you. The divine spark within is what's giving life to this body. It came in, but it came into, we're going to do this here. These programmed ideas. 0 to 5, you could not reject. You accepted everything that was going on. Did you come in with awareness? Or did you learn everything from them? 0, the average individual has no recollection of memories from the past because they came in completely open. No memory. The average individual comes in with no memory. Right? What are they doing? They're learning everything from the environment. What does the baby do? He doesn't even know he has a hand until he bites it. That's when he realizes that's me. He may look at it and say, wow, what's that? What's that thing? Why? Because it doesn't know that that's a part of him. Until there's something that connects it, and then it feels it, and then it senses it, and it knows it's a part of him. So as this essential power comes in, it comes in through this ideas, and it starts to become reformed. Formed. Reformed. Formed. Right? And it's starting to take all these ideas, and this movement, this mind movement, begins to call what we call think. But thinking means processing ideas. To process, remember the perpetual transmutation of thought energy. Whose thoughts? Now herein lies the bigger question. Who's been thinking? So we're looking at the mind, the movement of the mind, the data of the mind, and as you think, you couldn't reject. All these ideas are just coming in, and as you think, you're thinking from the file. You bring it up here to your conscious mind. This is your intellect. This is the subconscious, and then the conscious mind. Subconscious mind, down here in the lower recesses of your consciousness, these boxes are for the doing part of your personality. This is where the self-image is built. We're talking about self-image. The self-image is not up here. And the self-image does not open the boxes that you store for memory at a distance. And we're going to go through that here in a minute. At a distance. The main thing I want to do is introduce the mind and the way the movement of the mind is. But I want you, and Taha will come into it. Memory at a distance is when you store information that you're not going to do. So the self-image is immediately inducted with the 5 senses, which is hear, see, taste, touch, smell. So here comes a program. I'm going to put it behind it. Here comes the programming. You were programmed with everything you could hear, everything you could see, everything you could taste, everything you could touch, everything you could smell. Everything each immediately became cognitive form, conditioned material. Whose conditioned material? Mine. Here, I can go to the memory of it, but I can't produce it. But here, I can do over and over again. How many times did they have to teach you the alphabet? And what age were you? Okay, so after 0 to 5, it's harder to penetrate the subconscious mind. So a lot of people didn't understand if it was harder for them to learn. A lot of times they look at the baby and they think that the baby doesn't know, but the baby is actually getting programmed at this time. I did not like reading. My father and mother did not read to me 0 to 5. So guess what? In the future, I think I don't like reading. Why do I not like reading? Because nobody sat down at the programming age and was programming me with cells of recognition on reading. That's why I didn't like reading. And then later on, whatever's happening around the baby, and they think the baby is completely ignorant. They're not. They're just missing words. They're missing words and the symbol with the connection. But if you can do that from 0 to 5, you're actually putting cells of recognition that's going to be easier for them to perform in the future. We'll go through all that later. The main thing is everything that's here, see, taste, touch, and smell, started to think. That started to think. Everything that you could hear, see, taste, touch, smell, because that's what you saw them doing. And as you started to get that, you started to perpetually transmute everything you could see, hear, taste, and touch. And this is what's been creating reality. So this is the mind. We've got a box only for the observation of facts at a distance. That's why you go to school and they teach you a book, but that goes into the higher file that's only for memory at a distance. But guess what? After school, they don't grade you. But that's not you doing part of your personality. This is not wisdom. This is not knowing. This is know about it. That's why you can't perform it out here. So we're going to go into the rest of the mind. I'm going to turn it back over to Taha. But this here is what you know how to do. And this is what's been thinking. And this is a part of the past. Any questions on the mind before I turn it over? Yeah. Why? Because you're here and you're repeating it. That's why we are the way we are. Why? Because We're the perpetual transmutation of thoughts. That's thinking. We are the perpetual transmutation of thoughts that's thinking. So all this time, you're gathering their ideas. Do we move our boxes? Let's say they gave you 100 words, 0 to 5. Then you're taking this. Thinking means you're trying to organize ideas to a pattern plan. But guess what you keep getting? You think some more, you think some more, you think some more, and you get that again. Why? It doesn't matter how many times you shake it, you're going to keep getting the same ideas. You may try to rearrange them, but you're getting the same forms to act out. The mind is perpetual transmutation of thought energy. You could have gotten more ideas, but they didn't reach the subconscious mind. You could have books and books of information, and they're for the memory at a distance. They're to think about it, and they're maybe to talk about it, but not to do anything with it. Because you didn't penetrate that all the way down to the doing part of your personality. And this is where the instrument connects directly with the mind. I'm going to turn it over to Taha. We don't have any questions, right, Zach?
You have the remote. Thank you, Abraham. So as you guys, Abraham mentioned mind, and it's very important to understand the conscious mind and subconscious mind. You guys are receiving information from your hearing and what you guys are observing, and the information is interpreting in your program to what we're saying. And a lot of times you do understand what we're saying, but applying it is going to be very difficult. Why? We're going to talk about it in a little bit. As you guys remember that we touched on this image, this is a mind. If you look at the screen, and the mind, understanding this is important because we see things in images. And if we don't know what the mind looks like, we have this blank idea of we don't know what it is, right? So if I give you guys word, you guys know what that is, right? If I tell you table, image of table comes to your mind, right? If I tell you chair, if I tell you car, if I use this word, dog, cat, money, boy, girl, you have images, right? But if I tell you chetori, chikar mikoni, do you recognize that? Do you have an image of what I'm saying? You know why? Because you do not have image of what the word that I'm telling you, right? So we have to work with images. That's why it's important to understand the mind. So we have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. Conscious mind is our thinking mind. We can think. We can imagine. And is also our educated mind. That's what we went to school for, and we collect information. It's a mind that we choose, we decide, accept or reject, right? We accept some ideas, reject some ideas, we say yes, no. That happens with our conscious mind. And also, one of the very important roles that our conscious mind plays is our thoughts, imagination. It originates thoughts, right? So when I heard that, first time I heard that from Bob Proctor, I was like, what does that mean? Every ideas, every solution, everything that you want, the answer is here, evenly present for you. And you can pick it up with your conscious mind through imagination, right? That's very important. So when you say, hey, I don't know what to do about this, and you're worried and you go ask people and you're trying to figure things out, if you really think about it with a positive mental attitude, looking for solution, you're going to find an idea how to do it. That comes through your conscious mind. So what does that mean? That means you are an intellect that you have all the instructions, all the answers, all the strategy, everything that you need to succeed in life and create that life that you want and overcome all the challenges and problems. You have it within you. That comes through your conscious mind, right? So when you hear that, it's a kind of a relief, right? You're going to say, okay, well, I have ability to think and to find a solution to any problem that I'm facing or any challenge that I'm facing. And I can think how to get what I want to get because I have that ability within me. That's why earlier I said you were not aware of it. You guys are coming here, and Mastermind is here to increase the consciousness and humanity because we have everything we need to create the life and experience life that we want. So that's part of the conscious mind, right? And subconscious mind is basically in charge of us. And our subconscious mind is our emotional mind. Emotional mind, when you get emotional about something, like you want something real bad. What is it that recently you want real bad and you acquire it? Is that your Mercedes parked out there? You want that car? How bad did you want it? Bad? Good? Were you emotionally involved with it? Did you, I'm going to go get this car? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so you're not satisfied. You're happy, but you're not satisfied. That's good. But what I'm saying, when you thought about it, you said, I'm going to get that car. You had some image, right? You start thinking with your conscious mind, and then subconscious is in charge of you, right? It puts your body into sequence of event for you to go buy the car that you want because you were emotionally involved with that car, right? I'm not saying that's the car that you're going to drive the rest of your life, but I'm trying to make a point here. Emotion involved is like you like someone, right? Are you married? Okay, remember the first time you loved a girl? How about you wanted her? You were emotionally involved, and you were going to do anything to be able to see her, right? Because your subconscious mind is in charge of your body, is in charge of your life as well. We're going to talk about it a little bit more. Also, your subconscious mind cannot reject, meaning that any ideas that you have, things that you think about, things that who you are, you're going to perform like who you are. Because all the data he mentioned earlier, all the data that you have, you're going to say, hey, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stop smoking cigarette. I'm going to stop drinking. I'm going to stop doing that. Or something you're not supposed to be doing, or habits, right? But you keep doing that. Why? Because your subconscious mind is programmed. He mentioned it. It's programmed to do that, right? Your subconscious mind must accept, cannot determine the difference between that which is real or what's imagined, right? So your subconscious mind must accept. So anything that is you accept and you believe in your heart that is true, you have to experience it. You have to live it, right? That's part of your subconscious mind. And it must accept, meaning that when you start believing something, right, and you keep repeating it to yourself, like affirmation, you keep repeating yourself, that's who you're going to become, right? Because your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between real or imagined. That's very important because when people live, they live their life through their senses, right? They live their life through what they have right now. What's in their bank account? What reality they have? What kind of lifestyle they have, right? And according to that, they keep imagining what they don't want because they're keep looking at their existing reality, right? And instead, what you got to do if you want to change your reality, which is subconscious mind understanding is very important, It doesn't understand the difference between imagine and reality. You got to imagine the life that you want. And you keep imagining it, right? Remember, it says must accept, right? Subconscious mind must accept. It's going, at the point that you consent and you accept subjectively to become that person and to have that life, to see that life, and you keep looking for it and you keep seeking for it, you have to become. And I mentioned earlier, I said you live in your subconscious mind. What reality that you have, you experience it, is the conclusion of all your thoughts and who you are. So that being said, it's very important to understand and become aware what the mind is, what the function of the minds are, right? Knowing that, okay, yeah, why do I know? He mentioned earlier, he touched on it, he says, you know of it, but you can't go do it. You know of it, you want to go into real estate, right? You said you want to go into real estate, flip homes, and you want to buy an apartment complex, and you want to do all that, right? You know it, but have you done it? You see what I'm saying? So a lot of things that we want consciously, we think, we can't think of it. That's what people get it wrong. Say, oh, I think about it, but what I cannot achieve it, what is not in my life, because you haven't become it. You haven't imagined it enough. You haven't sacrificed anything for it, right? People, when they want something, the first thing that you got to do, what am I willing to give right now? Because our life is by design, everyone. What am I willing to give right now in order to bring that? I tell you that earlier, right? So what am I willing to give? What am I going to change to start really focusing on the real estate, something that I really want? What is the activity that you're doing? We're going to get to it later. That you can sacrifice and give and instead work on your real estate, something that you love to do, something that is going to give you financial freedom. Think about that. So now you're thinking with your conscious mind, right? And then subconscious mind, your programming it keeps telling you, oh, no, you can't do this. Oh, you don't have enough capital. Oh, you don't know the business. Oh, the market is not good. Oh, the interest rate is high. Oh, this, that, and eventually, yeah, right. So understanding what mind is, you can say, okay, well, no, this is my programming. I understand. I'm not going to accept that. I'm going to accept what I want to see. Because your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between real and unreal. Imagine or reality. So you keep thinking about that and you keep taking action for it, eventually you're going to become what you're thinking about. But if you think about, hey, it's not possible for me, and all these circumstances, guess what? You're not going to do it. So it is up on who to take action and think first positive and take action. You, right? So we're going to go to, Abraham touched on the programming, genetic programming, environmental programming that we have to overcome. So when we understand this information that we have the will to change and we have the awareness to change our programming that it's been given to us genetically and environmentally, we have a responsibility to understand ourselves very well. Understanding ourselves is not going to end by reading this book or coming to seminar or attending some classes. Understanding yourself requires dedication of your life to yourself because we have an infinite potential, right? Nobody can tell you what is the result that you can get, or same as you, or as anybody here. Nobody can measure it. Nobody can say, hey, you know what, your limit is just owning 2 apartment complex or becoming a millionaire, right? No one can measure it because we have infinite potential. We determine what is possible for us, right? So when you understand that, what do you got to do? You got to dedicate your life to work on yourself, because whenever you work on yourself, the byproduct of that is a better life, consistent better life, right? Because when you hit certain level, you want to move up, you want to level up, and you want a better life. You don't want to get stuck, right? So that's why it's important to consistently work on yourself. And you have the power to change your life, regardless what family you came in, what has happened to you, what kind of education you have, how much money you have in your bank account. what people call you in school, who bully you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many times you fail. From this point forward, when you start realizing the power is within you and you start waking up and you start becoming determined that, hey, I have the power to change my life. I'm going to change it. I'm going to decide today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not after Christmas or New Year, right now. Because I start realizing I have the power to change my life. And it's up on me. Full responsibility is on you. A lot of people I've seen that they get into, we're talking about self-image, they get into this victim personality, right? They keep blaming the environment. They keep blaming their parents. They keep blaming their, what has happened to them, their ex-wife, ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend. They keep blaming someone else because of why they cannot create the life that they want. And if we keep blaming on people after what I just said, and we never take responsibility of our life, that is me, that I need to improve and I need to change, we can never change our life. People acting as a victim. When you're acting as a victim, that's easy escape hatch for people to not take responsibility of their life. So when you understand this power that you have to change your life, you have to prioritize working on yourself. And that has to come first. I hear this all the time. People come to the classes, we teach, as Abraham says, we're teaching internationally. We teach in Spanish, Farsi, English. We work with a lot of people all over the world. And people come and say, even after a while they're in classes, they come and tell me, hey, I reached my goal, I'm comfortable and I don't want to come to the classes. I got busy. I want to take care of other things. They haven't got it yet. You know why? Because the first thing that they got to do is work on themselves. What they're going after or result that they want to create is the effect of their mindset. And if they don't consistently work on their mindset, they cannot. They're just doing the busy work. They're just dealing with the dead matter. Right? So it's important to understand that not only you got to work on yourself and you got to work on yourself the rest of your life, but you're responsible for your results. So the way we think creates our life, right? The first thing you do, can you stop thinking? No. Thoughts are, mind is activity, right? We cannot. Can you stop? The sun is going down right now. Can you stop the sun going down? No. That's exactly how we are. We cannot stop thinking. So when we know that we have this creative power that is running and we cannot stop it, what are we going to do with it? We're going to work with it, right? He mentioned it earlier, and I'm very grateful for Abraham. I learned a lot from him. You got to change the data. You got to change what you think and how you see yourself. And you got to make that a priority. First thing you said, we talked earlier, first thing in the morning, you got to get up and work on yourself. Because if you don't work on your mindset, all the decision that you make, all the thoughts that you have, everything that you have in life, only thing we have is thoughts. We don't have anything else. After that, everything else comes after the thoughts, right? You have to think before you move, right? When you get up, you have to think I'm going to get off the bed. I'm going to put my foot, right foot or left foot. Am I going to brush my teeth, wash my face? You have to think, right? And that's the first cause. And if you don't constantly work on that and put that a priority, it's going to be very difficult to change things. That's why this has to become something that you have to work on it constantly, 24/7. And when you start working on that, byproduct of that, everything is you want.
Can you explain why the repetition is important?
Absolutely. Repetition is important because the only way we're going to change these data, this information, this belief that we have is by repetition. Because everything that we have right now, the thoughts that we have after age of 5, we heard it constantly in society, right? There are certain things you hear all the time. Oh, let's save money for rainy days. Where did you learn that from? Age of 65, we're going to retire. Where did you heard that from? Environment, right?
So that means everything that you stored in your programming came from who? Somebody else.
Yeah. And that's how we are programmed. So now, what do we need to do? We need to unlearn and relearn. Unlearn the information that has been given to us that is not helping us in our life and is holding us on where we're at. We don't feel good. We can't create the result that we want. We don't make enough money. We can't do what we want. We don't have the freedom. We don't have all these. We have all these things that we want. You remember I said conscious thought? You can't think about it. You want it. But unless you don't repeat this information, you cannot change them. They're not going to go, and the change won't come overnight. It won't come overnight. It's not 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. I think when I started working on it, I think it took me 1.5 years, 2 years, starting a little bit of understanding what this meant. Because why? Because I surround myself with people that were constantly around this information. Otherwise, just look around, right? What are people talking about? It's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? That's what they're talking about. Sitting in, talking about their pains, talking about the issues, talking about the government, talking about everything else, all the dramas, but they never say, hey, what do I want in life? Why my life is this way? What am I going to do for it? Right? So the repetition of this information, I repeat this. 3 times a day, I stop and remind myself or read my book or do something intentionally to remind myself, because when you don't do that, you're not conscious, this will take charge of you.
That's its thinking.
That's what's thinking. Yeah. You know why? Desire. Because you understood that by reading and really understanding and applying, you're going to change your life. Yes. So let's change that. Stop saying I'm lazy, right? Let's say I'm working toward getting better every day. Right? Which one is better? A statement. What we're saying, remember he said repetition. What do you want to repeat? I'm getting better every day, or I'm lazy? Every day. Right. The first step is consciously, you agree with me right now, right? You got to do it here. This is in charge of you. Yeah, this is in charge of you. You got to push yourself. You got to put yourself, it's not, I don't want to say it this way, you got to put yourself in a bind. Like you got to jump and burn all the plan B, C, whatever plan you have. You got to go do it and figure it out. Otherwise, it's against you. The will that you have, the thoughts that you have, things that you want is 1%, and this is 99%. You're against 99%. Unless you jump and you don't have any other plans but to commit yourself to change that. Right? So what do you got to do? You got to change your priorities. What are you going to give today? Ask yourself. Write your plan. We have 24 hours. Everyone has. What am I going to give out of my day? What activity, the things that I'm doing to change my life? Otherwise, you're going to keep doing the same thing on a schedule, same results on a schedule, and you're going to get stuck. That's why people are stuck.
Because they're habitual by nature.
Yeah, because we're a habitual being, right? Human being.
So if they don't give up whatever their habit is for the habit of repetition and studying yourself, what's going to happen to them?
Ultimately, they're going to go do what they think they should be doing. Yeah.
I'm going to step in.
Sure.
It relates, and that's why I wanted to say something, because there was an individual that had talked to me. It's been several years, but he said, I don't understand, but everyone in my family dies at the age of 50.
There you go.
And it's because they were told, Your grandfather died at 50 and you're going to die at 50. And so they're programming their cells and their body to shut down at the age of 50.
Look at this. Perfect example. Thank you, Veronica. Perfect example. Look at this. What does it say here? Can you read this? Must
Accept.
Cannot determine difference between the which is real, which is imagined. When we say that, body has to shut down at 50. When you
It's
say
coming.
retirement, 65, how many people are close to retirement? They're ready to be done. Why? Because of the idea that they've given them.
And I was relating it to repetitions. So when you're talking about muscle memory and you're doing reps when you're working out, you're building that muscle and you're conditioning it in a certain way so that it can continually be that
To stay
form
there.
and stay in form. But if you're not, and you have that regular repetition of the cell, of the brain cells, of the muscle memories, of the old condition, then it's going to stay the same until you actually start a new form of reps with a different kind of form, which creates the new look.
Yeah.
You're right on. I love that. Great analogy.
Yeah.
Because that's the way the mind is. The body, when you start training it, it's through repetition that it grows. Why is it expanding? Because you keep repeating a different demonstration. The mind's the same way. When you keep repeating negative ideas and this, it can't work, that's the muscle that's grown. And that's why we tell everybody, and Taha said earlier, we have people that have come in here and they don't get it. You're supposed to be in the class over day after day after day, or you're not going to change.
Yeah.
Because you're not, it's through repetition that you change. And the mind works the same way as the muscle does. How many times did we go to school a year?
No. Like, I went to school 18 years.
Yeah, but how many days in a year?
300
Yeah.
at least.
You think that was an accident? No, they were repeating repetition so that until you get it, until you can say it, till you can think about it and you can talk about it. You see that? So what they were doing is they were programming you for the memory at a distance, to think about it and to talk about it. But that was the problem with education. They weren't teaching you how to express it in actions.
Yeah. And that's what autosuggestion is.
And that's what the university is. University prepares you to put it into action.
Yeah.
Why you want more money? You're not going to take it. But then again, I look at families complaining that they can buy it, they can buy that. And I'm like, well, you don't want more money. But then you
Complain.
can't.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Yeah. That's the story of,
Then I hear about sickness in the family. And
So who's thinking? What do they know? What? Yeah, but what is thinking through them to tell you that? Now you understand. There you go.
I want. But then they come back and say, well, whatever makes you happy.
yeah.
Wait up. But then I go back to that, what I was taught, subconscious.
Yeah. You know, when you start thinking about this, I don't say this like in public or places, but think about this. We're most hurt from our families because of the belief that they ingrained into us and the ideas that they give us. They loved us, but they didn't know any better. But think about this. How much you relate yourself, because when we grow up, we see our parents as our guardian, right? Somebody that we look up to. There's somebody that holds our hand, helping us grow, feeding us, right? And we automatically look up to them. And then their program becomes ours. And then we do the same thing with our child. Unless you intervene in your generation and start changing the way you're thinking.
Changing the intelligence.
Yeah. I'm going to pass it to Abraham, and we're going to continue the auto-suggestion.
Auto-suggestion is a suggestion from myself to myself. Why is that important? Why isn't a suggestion from yourself to yourself important?
It has to be the personal factor of what you were saying, perpetual, the purpose, the potential for purpose, and to transmute it into energy.
But don't you think whatever you're giving yourself a suggestion should be on purpose? Would you agree?
Yes. In your mind.
So I want you to write down from now on everything that I do, and I want you to write these three things down. In purpose. I want you to write down in, on, with. In, on, with. And then underneath, I want you to put purpose. In, on, with. Now, when you look at that, it's everything I do from now on is in purpose, it's on purpose, and it's with purpose. What does that mean?